Hey everybody, I wanted to bring you another post in my series, Knowledge is a Good Investment. And today I wanted to talk to you about buyers and what they can expect between contract formation and closing, and talk a little bit about what closing is. So if you're a buyer and you've done the hard work of searching for a house and negotiating with the seller and successfully getting it under contract, you may wonder what's next. Well, obviously you got some things to pack and you got to be thinking about moving houses, but as far as the real estate transaction itself, I just wanted to give you a few ideas about what's going to be happening. So first of all, if you're getting a mortgage, there are going to be some things happening with your mortgage processing. So your mortgage lender will be requesting an appraisal, and that has to happen to ensure that the house is valued at least as much as you're under contract for, if not a little bit more. And also your lender could be asking you for some additional documentation and paperwork, and it's important to get that to them as quickly as you can. Be very responsive so that you don't drag the process down, make any delays. Also, you'll have a conversation with your real estate agent about inspections. So there are several different inspections that a buyer would want to have done on a house they have under contract. You would want to have a general home inspection. You might have the septic inspected. You might have a water test. You might have the radon tested. You might have a pest inspection. You might have a chimney inspection. And there are some others. So depending on the house, you're going to have a conversation with your real estate agent and get those started, get those in the works. You're also going to have to pick out an attorney, because in North Carolina, we use attorneys to close our real estate transactions. Other states use title companies, but North Carolina, we do use attorneys. Part of what the attorney will be doing on your behalf is researching the title. They call it a title search, and they are making sure that you're going to take title to a house that doesn't have liens or any clouds from a previous transaction, that you'll just get a really good clean title. So you have to have an attorney. At some point you need to identify what insurance company is going to do homeowners insurance for you. Your mortgage lender will require that, and if you're a cash buyer, you certainly are going to want homeowners insurance anyway. You'll need to identify that, and as it gets close to closing, you're going to want to have the utilities changed into your name effective the date of closing. So just a quick word about social media. So if you have a social media account, and most people do, and you start making posts about how much you love this house, you might be doing yourself a disservice. If the seller or the seller's agent is able to see posts that you're putting on before the end of the process, and you need to later negotiate for repairs after inspections, you could have maybe undermined your effort to be able to negotiate. So just be careful about social media posting, and maybe wait until you have the keys. So what happens on the actual day of closing? So it used to be that sellers and buyers sat down at the same table and signed all the paperwork at the same time. But over the years, that's just kind of changed. No particular reason. It just has gotten to be where we rarely see buyers and sellers sit down at the table at the same time. Typically, the seller will sign their paper at their own attorney, which may be a different attorney, ahead or at a different time than when the buyer does the same day. The buyer will typically go into the attorney's office and sign the paperwork, and that takes less than an hour. Even if you're getting a mortgage, even though it's a lot of papers to sign, it doesn't take all that long. And if you can't be in town, if you can't come in person to the attorney's office, they can email everything to you, and you could sign in front of a notary and overnight everything back. So it can be done remotely. That's done actually fairly often, and it's no problem. So after all those papers are signed, then depending on the lender, they will either need to look at those documents before they authorize the attorney to spend that money, or they may have authorized the attorney to spend the money once the attorney knows that all the documents are signed. And once that's done, the attorney can go and just one more time double check that there's no last minute liens that have been placed on the property, and then they record the new the deed in your name, the new deed, and it's yours, and you'll be given the keys, and your homeownership journey begins. So, but the process itself is kind of anticlimactic after the excitement of shopping for a home and getting it under contract and leading up to the closing itself. It's less than an hour and you're in and out and done, and typically you have some keys in your hand, and that's how it works. And so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I did write a blog post with more information on this, with kind of some instructions about being careful about using your credit if you're getting a loan, because you can kind of undermine your ability to get the loan if you go out and take out credit. So don't do that. But if you want more information, look at that blog post. The link is down below in the notes. And I hope that you found all this information helpful, and stay tuned for the next video.